practical profile and low and high rise dams. So, first, what is an elementary profile of a gravity dam? An elementary profile is as such just a theoretical concept. It's not a practical, it doesn't have any practical application. It's just for the sake of analysis. You'll be drawing the shape of the dam as a right angled triangle. It's called as the elementary profile. Whenever the dam is subjected only to the external water pressure on the upstream side, in that case, you can assume that, or you can theoretically say that the dam's profile will be a right angle triangle with the width equal to 0 at the water level, the top water level. This is the water level means, so the width will be 0. The dam's width will be 0 at the top water level, and at the base it will be B. Okay, or where the point, this is the point where maximum hydrostatic pressure occur. So that will be the, you can just say that the shape of the profile of the dam is similar to the shape of the hydrostatic pressure diagram. How will be the hydrostatic pressure diagram? This will be the hydrostatic pressure diagram. So wherever the hydrostatic pressure diagram is having the maximum width, the dam will also be having the maximum width. Where the hydrostatic pressure diagram is a point, the dam will also be a point. So it's a right angle triangle with the top width equal to 0, top width or the width at the water surface equal to 0, and the width at the base equal to B. Okay, so this is the elementary profile. That's a right angle triangle. Now we will analyze this elementary profile and find out the various stress and the various widths. When this width you have to find, and the various vertical stresses that come at the various places you have to analyze. See, first thing is, you consider the case where the reservoir is empty. The reservoir is empty. There is no water in the upstream side. Reservoir empty. In the reservoir empty condition, what will be the different forces that act in the case of the dam? This force won't be there. There won't be any horizontal force. Will there be any uplift? No, there won't be any uplift. Now, what is the only force coming to picture? That will be the self weight of the dam. That is the force that acts downward. Fine. Now, when the dam is empty, through which point the resultant must pass through for the stability of the dam? We have already said the middle third rule. What the middle third rule says? If you divide the whole thing, the whole base into B by 3, B by 3, B by 3, in that case, if the resultant is within this limit, the dam is going to be safe. In that case, you can find that the reservoir empty condition, the only force here is the self weight of the dam, and this self weight must pass through, most ideally it must pass through this point, right? That is the inner middle third line. This is the inner middle third line. If the resultant or otherwise here, there is no other force, the resultant is equal to the self weight. It must pass through the B by 3 inner middle third line in the case of dam empty. Okay, so if what will be this distance? This is equal to B by 3. Fine. Now we will find out the vertical stress distribution at the base when the reservoir is empty. The vertical stress distribution, you know that P max by P minimum, or otherwise P max and P minimum is equal to sigma V by B 1 plus or minus 6E by B. Right. So here, what is the P max value? P max value be equal to sigma V by B 1 plus 6E by B. What is P minimum? Sigma V by B 1 minus 6C by B. What is the sigma V value here? As there is no other force, the sigma V value is equal to the weight W. What must be the value of eccentricity E? E will be equal to B by 6. So just substitute in the equation, you get sigma V is equal to W by B into 1 plus or minus 6 into B by 6 into B, right? So it becomes W by B into 1 plus or minus 1. Okay, so what is P max here? P max will be W by B into 2. What will be P minimum? P minimum will be equal to W by B into 0 or equal to 0. So this is how the vertical stress distribution will be in case of a dam empty condition. The resultant will be near the heel. This is the heel portion. The resultant will be near the heel and its value will be equal to 2W by B, and at the toe portion the vertical stress will be equal to 0. So this is a case of dam empty. Okay. You have the maximum vertical stress as 2W by B acting near the toe. Now we will see when the dam is full, when the reservoir is full. In the reservoir full condition, you have to find out the base width and the stress and the vertical stresses. To find out the base width in the case of reservoir full condition, you have two criteria. The first criteria is to find out the resultant, the point at which the resultant pass through. That is the middle third rule itself. The second is the make sure that the dam is safe against sliding. These are the two criteria that helps us in finding out the base width of the dam. Okay, now we will see the first criteria, that is the resultant criteria. The condition that the resultant must pass through the middle third. Now, in the case of reservoir full, where will the resultant pass through? What is the maximum possible point which ensures that there is no tension developing in the heel part? So this is the weight acting downward, means the resultant must pass through, as there is water, thus there is horizontal stresses, the resultant will be near to the toe and it must pass through a point which is within the outer middle third, or otherwise you can just say the lower middle third portion of the dam. Okay, so the resultant will be passing through this point. If the resultant is passing through this point, there won't be any tension developing at the heel. Okay, there won't be any tension cracks developing. So you have to make sure that the resultant is well within this point, that is it must not pass beyond the B by 3 point from the lower side, lower middle third point. Now we will find out the moments caused by various forces. Now let us first see the various forces that act here. You have a triangular profile, because the elementary profile of the dam is right angle triangle, you have this profile, and the self weight will be acting like this. It will be at a distance of B by 3, right? That's what we found out using the reservoir empty condition. Now you will have water. Now the reservoir is full, you have water. Okay, so this will be the hydrostatic pressure. The hydrostatic pressure will be acting, resultant P will be acting at H by 3 from the base. If the height of the dam is H, the resultant will be acting at H by 3 from the base. Now also there will be uplift pressure. When there is water, there are chances of seepages and there will be uplift pressure. And where is the location of uplift pressure? It will be acted at, it will be U, it will be acting at a point B by 3 from the heel. Okay. Now what will be these values? This ordinate and this ordinate. The hydrostatic pressure ordinate P will be equal to W into unit weight of water into height. And what will be this one? The uplift pressure value? It is given as C into W into H. Okay, what is the C value? The C value is actually a constant. According to USBR, they says that the C is equal to 1 when there is uplift and C is equal to 0 when there is no uplift. No uplift, C is equal to 0, uplift is there, then this C value is equal to 1. Okay, this is the criteria for finding C. C into W and H is the intensity here. Okay, now we will be taking moment of all these forces. So you have three forces, W, P and U. We will be taking the moment of all these three forces about a point. about which point we must take the moment? We can take the moment about this point, that is the point at which the R or the resultant pass through. So this is the R. You are taking the moment about this point. Okay. So you have the forces acting P, W and U, and we will be going to take the moment about this point at which the R. Now let us consider the forces one by one. W into, what will be the moment there? It will be B by 3. W into B by 3 is the perpendicular distance here, minus U into B by 3 again, it's same B by 3, minus P into, this height is H by 3. So H by 3 is equal to what? R into, it is the same point. So R into 0, right? So here you get the equation W minus U into B by 3 minus P into H by 3 is equal to 0. Fine. Now what is this W? W, that is the weight of the dam. Otherwise it can be written as half into base into height into 1, the volume, into area into height into the unit weight of the material. Unit weight can be written as specific gravity into unit weight of water. So what you get? The specific gravity of the material is concrete, means you have to use the specific gravity of concrete. Otherwise, if it is masonry, you have to put the value accordingly. If it is WW, that is the unit weight of water. Otherwise, 1 ton per meter cube, that is the unit weight of water. Okay. So this is the equation for W. Now what is this U? U is equal to half into this triangle, that is the U, half into CW into H into B, half base into altitude, area of the triangle, area of this triangle. So it is equal to, this is the value of U. Now what is this P? P will be equal to half area of the triangle, half into W into H. This is the base here. So W into H into capital H, or equal to WH square by 2. So these are the different values. Okay. Now you have to substitute these particular values into this equation. Okay. What will be the equation now? Just write down the equation again. W minus U into B by 3 minus P into H by 3 is equal to 0. Where W is equal to half BH into SS into W minus U is equal to half CWHB, the whole into B by 3 minus WH square by 2 into H by 3 equal to 0. Now you can rearrange this equation as B by 3 into half into BH into W into SS minus C is equal to WH square by 6. Okay. So the equation become B square into SS minus C, isn't it? W will get cancelled, H and H will get cancelled. This is H cube, right, into H is the, so will be equal to WH square by 6. This is the equation. Now this 6 will also get cancelled. So the equation become B square into SS minus C is equal to H square. Okay. W is already got cancelled. So in this case, what will be the equation? B is equal to h by root of ss minus c. This is the equation. So you have found out the equation for base width B based on the condition that the resultant is passing through the outer middle third point. Okay, so the resultant, if the resultant is passing through the outer middle third point, you took the moment and you equated the various forces that act here, weight W, the hydrostatic pressure P, uplift U, and you found out the equation for the base width B is equal to h by root of ss minus c. This is the equation for finding the base width. Now let us consider the general case. You have already as we are said, c is equal to 1 for uplift is there. If c is equal to 0, there is no uplift. So B will be equal to h by root of ss in case of no uplift. Okay, or otherwise it will become B is equal to h by root of ss minus 1 in case c is equal to 1. This is the first condition for finding out the base width. Now what will be the second condition for finding out the base width? Second condition was to make sure that the dam is safe in sliding. When the sliding, you may be remembering a figure like this where the dam structure is subjected to horizontal forces, sigma h is acting here, sigma v, and there will be a frictional resistance which will be equal to mu into sigma v. In order to make sure the dam doesn't slide, you have to compare these two forces and make sure that mu into sigma v is greater than sigma h. In that case, the dam won't slide. Now, see, in this particular condition, in this particular case, what is our sigma v? Our sigma v is equal to mu in W minus U, isn't it? So here you have the dam structure, you have the weight acting downward, you have the uplift acting upward. So in that case, sigma v is equal to W into U. What is sigma h here? Sigma h is the P, the hydrostatic force P. So you can write the equation as W minus U into mu is greater than or equal to P. In that case, the dam is going to be safe in sliding. So what is the value of W? W can be written as half into B into H into SS into W, unit weight of water, half into C into W into H into B. It is greater than or equal to W H square by 2. Right? Now, let us rearrange this equation and we will find that the equation become mu into SS minus C into half into B into H into W greater than or equal to WH square by 2. Otherwise, we can write it again as mu into SS minus C into B. That must be greater than or equal to H. All the terms will get cancelled. Now, you can say that the B value has to be greater than or equal to H by mu into SS minus C. So, what will be the limiting condition? B equal to H by mu of SS in a SC gravity minus the C value. That is the limiting condition. If the C value is 1, the equation become H by mu into SS minus 1. If there is no uplift, the equation become H by mu into SS. Okay. So, B greater than or equal to. This is the value. H by mu into SS. You have to compare the value that you got in the condition 1. In the condition 1, what was the equation? B is equal to H. What was our first equation? B is equal to H by root of SS minus C. That's our first equation. Here what you got? B is equal to H by mu of SS minus C. You have to compare these two equations and the greatest of it has to be used. But then generally the equation, this one is the general equation, that practical conditions we will be using the equation h by root of SC. This is the practically used equation. For practical purpose you will be using this equation. Now consider the case where we can see the vertical stresses. We will find out the vertical stresses that act in this case. In the earlier case also we have found out the vertical stresses in the case of dam empty, and we found out that P max is equal to 2W by B. Here we are going to find the dam reservoir full condition. So P max by P minimum is equal to sigma V by B into 1 plus or minus 6E by B. Okay. Now what is the sigma V here? Sigma V is equal to W minus U, isn't it? Because the two forces here in the vertical direction are, you have the upward weight and the upward uplift pressure. So W minus U is the upward, vertical force. Now what is the E here? E is equal to B by 6. Substitute in this equation. What you get? 1 plus or minus 6 into B by 6 into B. You will get it as 1 plus or minus 1. It's either 2 or it is 0. This is the two values possible here. Now what is this sigma V by B? Sigma V is equal to W minus U. What is this W? W is equal to half into BH into 1 into S into W minus half into CW into H into B. These are the forces. You can just rewrite it as half into BWH B into W into H into SS minus C. This is the equation for sigma V. Sigma V. Now what is sigma V by B? This will be equal to half into WH into SS minus C. Now what will be this P max value? P max value will be equal to half into W into H into SS minus C into, the sign will be, for P max it is positive, so it will be 2. The value will be 2. Okay. So the equation become half WH into SS minus C. This is the PV at toe. In the case of reservoir full condition, where does the maximum stress comes? It is at the toe portion. So here this is the value at the toe. Now what will be the PV at heel? PV at heel will be equal to this term SS, this term 1 plus 6B by B. This becomes 0. So the value will become 0. PV will also become 0. So these are the two stresses here. Now we will find out the principal stress near the toe. These are the vertical stress that act in the reservoir full condition. WH into SS minus C at the toe and 0 at the heel. These are the vertical stresses. Now we will find out the principal stresses at toe or near the toe. What was the equation? Sigma is equal to PV into secant square alpha minus P dash tan square alpha. Okay. Now suppose if there is no tailwater, then P dash will be equal to 0. No tailwater. In that case, this equation become sigma is equal to PV secant square alpha. Okay. Now at the toe, then the reservoir is full. What is the value of PV? The value of PV is equal to sigma at toe when the reservoir is full. WH into SS minus C. C into secant square alpha. This is the value of PV. PV is equal to this. Now, what is this secant square alpha? WH into SS minus C can be written as 1 plus tan square alpha. Okay. Now, what is this tan square alpha here? You have the figure. In the figure, you can see that this is the angle alpha. What is tan alpha? Tan alpha will be equal to B by H. So, sorry, this is not the angle. Here you have the diagram. This angle that the downstream side makes with the vertical is alpha. So, in this case, the tan alpha will be equal to B by H. Right. Now, what is tan square alpha? 1 plus B square by H square. Right. So, we can write the equation as WH into SS minus C into 1 plus B square by H square. Okay. Now, what is this B? You already know B is equal to H by root of SS minus C. So, B by H is equal to 1 by root of SS minus C. So, you can write B square by H square is equal to 1 by SS minus C. Substitute it here. WH into SS minus C into 1 plus 1 by SS minus C. The equation becomes sigma is equal to WH into SS minus C plus 1. So, this is the equation for the major principal stress in case of reservoir full. Now, we will find out the shear stress toe. Shear stress toe knot at the horizontal plane near the toe portion. The toe knot equation was P V minus P dash into tan alpha. Here in this case, we are assuming that there is no tail water. P dash is going to get 0, B becomes 0. So, the equation becomes PV into tan alpha. Okay. Now, what is this PV? You already found out. PV is equal to WH into SS minus C into tan alpha. What is tan alpha? Tan alpha is equal to B by H. So, B by H, or otherwise you can write this as 1 by root of SS minus C, isn't it? B by H is equal to 1 by root of SS minus C. So, WH into SS minus C into this. The equation will become toe knot is equal to WH into root of SS minus C. This is the equation for the shear stress near the base of the toe. So, you have two equations here. First one is the principal stress equation and the shear stress equation. Okay. So, the elementary profile of the dam is basically a right angled triangle. Okay. With the weight acting at B by 3 from the upstream edge, uplift pressure and the hydrostatic pressure. This is the case of reservoir full condition. In that case, the base width will be equal to H by root of SS minus C for the resultant to pass through this point, that is the outer middle third point, and the B value will be equal to H by mu of SS minus C for the sliding condition. Of these two conditions, this is the practically used condition, but then the greatest of these two values has to be considered. From there, you found out the value of the vertical and the vertical principal stresses and the shear stresses that act on the structure. Okay, this is about the elementary profile of the dam. Now we will move to the next topic. Hope this is clear for you. The next topic is low and high rise dam. Low and high gravity dams. Now, what is a low and high gravity dam? You have already found out the principal stress sigma. What was the equation for sigma? The equation for sigma was sigma is equal to W into H into SS minus C plus 1. Okay, you are just rewriting it again. Sigma is equal to WH into SS minus C plus 1. This is the equation for sigma. Just look into this equation. You can see that none other than the terms here W, SS and C. These are all constants. So the only variable here is this H, that is the height. Okay, so we can make sure if the height is within the limit, you can make sure that sigma is also within the limit. For the value of sigma, you have a permissible value. What is it called? It's called as the maximum allowable compressive strength of the material, right? You can write it as F. Okay, this is the allowable compressive strength of the material. For an allowable compressive strength, you have a particular height that is possible, isn't it? Because all the other terms are constant here. So you can write this equation as F is equal to W into H into SS minus C plus 1, right? Where F is the maximum allowable compressive strength of stresses of the material, of the dam material. And you can find H is equal to F divided by W into SS minus C plus 1. Okay. So, this value of H, that is the maximum possible height, so that the stresses are well within the allowable limits. That height is the height of a low rise dam. Okay, the limiting height H max. You can say it as it's equal to F by W into SS plus 1 if C is equal to 0. C is equal to 0 means there is no uplift. In that case, you can say that F max or the maximum possible height is equal to F by W into SS plus 1. If this is the height of the dam, then you can say that it is a low dam. So, how to draw a low dam profile? The elementary profile of the dam being a right angle triangle. If this height, this is H max, that is equal to F divided by W into SS plus 1. Okay, in that case it is called as a low dam. Okay, now if I have a dam where the height is more than this, so this is a low rise dam. Now if I have some height, this is my dam. In that case, it is called as a high rise dam. That is, which is height is more than the particular H max value for that particular material. If that the high H is greater than the H max value, it can be called as a high rise dam. Okay, this is a high gravity dam. So in case of high gravity dam, what we have to do is to make sure it is safe, it's stable. What you have to do is, what happens when the height is more than the H max value, the F is no more within the limits. It is having a higher value than the allowable stresses. In that case, to make sure that it is safe, what you do is you give some extra slopes on the upstream and the downstream. Okay, so what you do is from the level where the low rise dam ends, in the bottom part an extra slope is provided in the upstream as well as the downstream side. So this value is H max, that is same as F by W into FSS minus 1, and then this is the limiting height of the low rise dam, and below that let it be H1. In this H1 portion, you will be having a different slope for the upstream and the downstream side, so that the structure is stable. Okay, this is called as a high rise dam. Okay, now let us just do a simple calculation to find out the height of a low rise dam. Okay, it's generally adopted value. We are just giving it generally adopted value. The F value you'll be taking it as, the F value is usually taken as 300 tons per meter cube. In case of concrete dams, it is taken as 310 per meter cube, and the S is taken as 2.4. What is the value of W? That is unit weight of water. That is equal to 1 ton per meter cube. Right? Now just do the calculation. You can find that H max of the low concrete gravity dam will be equal to F by, that is 300 by W, 1 into SS, that is SS is equal to 2.4. If you are considering it as 1, SS plus 1 is C is equal to 1. In that case, you can get that it is equal to 300 by 3.4, which is equal to 88 meter. Okay, this is how you do the calculation in case of low rise dam and high rise dam. So in low rise and high rise dam, the main factor is the height. The height is well within the limits of the allowable stress. F is equal to F by W into SS minus SS plus 1. In that case, you can say that it's a low rise dam. If its height more than this value, you can say it's a high gravity dam. Okay, so this is the elementary profile. Now we will see, hope you understood what a elementary profile is, what a high and low gravity dams are. Now we will see the profile of a dam in a practical profile. Practical profile of a gravity dam. Now what is a practical profile? The elementary profile that we mentioned before, that is what said that is a rectangle triangle. It's just a theoretical condition. It's not practically possible. In case of practical construction works, you need to provide a straight top. Okay, you may need a roadway at the top of the dam. In that case, this apex is not possible. So what you have to do? You have to provide a straight top width. Okay, for the construction of a roadway, and this roadway will be inputting more loads into the structure. And also then you need a freeboard. In the case of the elementary profile, the water level and the apex were at the same point, but it's not possible. You have to make sure the dam does not spill over. In that case, you have to provide a freeboard. So these two things will be included into the elementary profile, and then we will get the practical profile. Let us see how. Now this is the elementary profile. We will do the elementary profile first. This is the elementary profile of the dam. Okay, now what is our additional necessities? You need some roadway to be provided. Okay, so you have to provide a roadway of width A. Fine. And also you have to provide a freeboard here. Okay, this was the water level, so this was our freeboard. Fine. So this is the practical profile of a dam, of a gravity dam. But then usually this slope will be changed a little bit after providing the practical profile. But then one more thing that you have to consider is, whenever these additional structures comes into the structure, what will happen? The resultant will be no more within the V/6 limits. So we have to provide some other additional safety measures to take care of this shift of the resultant. The resultant, which was just consider the case where the reservoir is empty. Suppose the reservoir is empty. In that case, what is the resultant point? This was the resultant point, right? This is how the resultant was passing through. In this case, what happens is that whenever there is an additional structures coming, these resultant have a tendency to move more towards the heel point. Okay, so this resultant will be moving towards the heel. So in order to take care of this shift towards the heel, or it resultant crossing the inner middle third point, this is the inner middle third point, so the resultant is crossing this point to, and what will happen, there will be tension developing in the toe. Okay, to avoid that, what you do is you provide some masonry on the upstream side. So you have some extra masonry constructed in the upstream side. How to do it? So here you have some extra masonry work to be constructed so that the resultant is well within the B/6 limit. Okay, so for that some extra masonry work is provided in the upstream side. That is the practical profile. This completes the practical profile. So you have a roadway at the top, you have to consider the freeboard, and also to make sure that the resultant is well within the B/6 limit, you provide a extra masonry on the upstream side. So you'll just draw it again. Here you have the practical profile. And then after doing the giving the freeboard and the roadway, now you have to give some extra masonry. Now about the how long you have to provide the extra masonry, all those things you can just find out using the dimensions. If this is the freeboard, you will be providing this distance will be equal to 2a. This is a, this is the 2a root of SS, and this will be equal to 3a root of SS. Okay, this is the total height of the dam. This is the complete practical profile. This dimension will be equal to a by 16, where a is the width of the roadway. What is this width? This is the same as before, that's the base width. B is equal to h by root of SS. Okay, so this completes the practical profile of a gravity dam. The elementary profile is a right angle triangle, and the practical profile is this one, which is having a freeboard, which is having a roadway of A, and also a extra masonry work on the upstream side, so that the resultant is well within the B/6 limit. It doesn't cross, the resultant doesn't cross the B/6 inner B/6 limit. And if it crosses, what happens? If the resultant is crossing the inner B/6 limit, you have the problem of the toe will be under tension. Okay, so to make sure it doesn't happen, you are providing an extra masonry in the upstream side. Fine. So this is the practical profile of a gravity dam. I hope this portion is clear for you. Thanks for watching. Thank you.